In the Bible's book of Revelation there is a beast with 7 heads and 10 feet. What's amazing is, we see that the dragon also has 7 heads, 10 feet. Surprisingly, the beast also has 7 heads and 10 feet. Clearly, there is a very strong connection between the dragon and the beast. Let's take a look at what is described in Revelation chapter 13. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the sea. It had 7 heads and 10 feet. On its 10 feet it wore 10 crowns. Several of its heads bore blasphemous names against God. The beast I saw looked like a leopard. Its feet were like those of a bear. Its mouth was like a lion's. The great dragon handed over all his power and authority to this beast. So, is this beast a cow, a tiger, a lion, or a leopard, perhaps? It is not any of those animals. It is not an animal. So what does it symbolize by using animals as a metaphor? It symbolizes a nation. Yes, it represents a nation. There is similar teaching in the book of Daniel. But the prophet Daniel saw a prophecy, in which he saw 4 beasts coming up from the sea. The first was like a lion. That lion-like beast represented the Babylonian Empire. The second beast, which was lion-like but also resembled a bear, represented the Persian Empire. It is identified as the Persian Empire. Then the Medo-Persian Empire arose. Next, another beast appeared. Specifically, one that resembled a leopard. That is, Greece. Then the fourth beast was truly terrifying. It had iron shovels, iron feet and bronze teeth. Moreover, it had 10 feet. This lean beast represents Russia, which split up and later formed alliances. Now, today, Brother Zabodi said, "Hey, what does the 7-headed, 10-footed beast mean?" According to Zibadai Zong, the 7 heads represent 7 nations, beginning with Egypt and Assyria, Babylon, and so on. Eventually even Russia. So what is the 7-headed, 10-horned beast? Brother Zabodi began to explain it to the brothers and sisters. He explained that the 7-headed, 10-footed beast refers simply to the beast. It is the beast to whom the dragon handed over all his authority. So, the beast mentioned here represents the nations of the world. Many brothers and sisters have repeatedly asked, who is the king of this world? It is the devil, Satan. But how did the devil, Satan, give all his authority to his king? How did he give it to the people on earth? He bestowed his spirit on the people of the earth. What were the earthly rulers, as rulers, doing? They persecuted God's people. Why did these rulers hate God's people? Because the dragon, the devil, he gave them his name, and thus imparted his purpose to them, causing them to hate those who belong to God. So the 7-headed, 10-footed beast means that the 7 heads represent 7 nations. 7 nations that, since creation, have always been in conflict with God's people. Those 7 nations that have truly opposed God's people. Thus, these 7 nations constitute the 7 heads. Meanwhile, the 10 feet symbolize the 10 kings of the Great Tribulation. These 7 nations have been opposed to God's people since creation, persisting until the world's end. They are the nations that have severely persecuted God's people. The 10 feet pertain to this era, an era that has not yet occurred. It will probably happen in about 10 years, when 10 kings form an alliance to oppress God's people. This, then, is the 10-horned beast. Now, Brother Zabodi will explain the 7 heads, and later, the 10 horns. The 7 heads represent the period from creation up until the end of the world, an era ruled by Satan's evil spirit. 7 nations controlled by Satan's evil spirits that persecute, harm, and oppress God's people. So, what are these 7 persecutors? Which country is specifically the nation of God's enlightened people? Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia Median, Greece, Rome, and Russia are these 7 nations. And what about this nation? These countries at different times didn't love God's people. Now the first 6 countries no longer exist. Only Russia remains today. So why, among so many nations in the world, are only 7 mentioned? It's because God's people suffered the greatest persecution from these 7 nations. That's why these 7 nations are mentioned. Later, we will talk about the mystery of persecution. May glory be given to the Heavenly Father and the Lord. Amen.